The Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shasheena Rolle. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the government is attempting to face a controversial issue head-on. This proactive approach comes amid reported mounting health concerns among employees stationed at the $18 million C.A. Smith complex. Today, the Minister of Labor and National Insurance, the agency which owns the building, met with the group of government workers to hear their concerns. Joan Davis-Rolle reports.
Definitely not running away from the issues. Issues as it relates to public health, to employees being exposed to anything is of great concern to this administration.
It is this and other related issues that a cadre of officials, along with the Minister of Labor, the Honorable Shane Gibson, attempted to address during a special called meeting Wednesday morning. This coming amidst mounting health concerns among workers at the C.A. Smith government complex. According to the Labor Minister, the Honorable Shane Gibson, the meeting was cordial and one which provided all parties involved with an opportunity to voice their concern.
And it's just important to have the persons who are overseeing the mold remediation to come down and explain to them what was done and address any concerns that individuals may have. The Department of Environmental Health and the public analysts certified that mold remediation was carried out to their specifications, and you know, at this time, you know, the important thing is to meet with employees before and after so they can understand what's happening. I mean, it's unfortunate this is a new building, you know, but you know, that's the way it is. They say you can't prevent mold from going anywhere. Mold is everywhere. It's just trying to keep it down to an acceptable level.
Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Dr. Michael Dobble, speaking directly to the issue of building contamination, as he outlined the government's stance regarding all government buildings going forward.
We have had complaints for a long time from the Ministry of Education, the tenants here, Customs and Immigration, about the possible exposure to contaminants. I'm pleased to report to the residents of Grand Bahama that a contract was awarded, the place has been cleaned, and this meeting is a follow-up to that process, to really look at all of the issues that are still affecting the employees in this building. We are working out the logistic to move some people around, and some additional studies will take place, but we're very confident that the process for the removal of mold has been completed. Other work as a result of mold on Grand Bahama, as you're aware, down at the 8 Mile Rock School, at the building where we are, it's ZNS, we just finished cleaning that. So it's obviously that all buildings are susceptible to contamination of mold. And one of the things I like to just highlight is the fact that preventative maintenance, I think, is a solution. And so the way forward, protocols would be put in place for all of these buildings that goes through the necessary cleansing process to ensure that we prevent this from happening again.
Experts also weighing in on the situation, saying that their goal is to allay the affairs of workers.
I'm very satisfied because I walked through, I looked at every air handle, I looked at the ducts, I looked at we did thermo checks of the dry walls and everything else, and it indicated to me, and all the instrumentation says, that we in a healthy and safe environment, we're in a safe building. And I signed off on it, the public signed off on it, and the MRAD unit here in Grand Bahama, they're okay with what was done. So we're all on the same page.
Joan Davis-Rolle, ZNS Network News.
Well, Bahamas Customs and Immigration are just two of the agencies housed in the C.A. Smith complex. Official with the Customs and Immigration and Allied Workers Union, Darren Brooks, says while they commend Minister Gibson for meeting with the workers, he says the meeting has left them with more questions than answers.
There's a concern by the other workers here in this building because you have persons who are being affected from a respiratory standpoint, and certain illnesses have accelerated to a certain extent, and they're having heart conditions, etc. And so therefore the concerns still exist as to the health and safety of the persons that work in this building.
Specific questions that were asked by various persons in and out of our union that they did not receive a direct answer, right? So he said that in some instances, the questions that were asked would be answered later, or it wasn't the forum for it. We would receive answers to those questions later. So some persons still left without feeling reassured.
In other news, the local government chief counselor for the city of Freeport, Shavita Campbell, issuing a statement following a special called meeting last night. The meeting came following allegations of misconduct on the part of the chief counselor. Campbell says the council voted in majority that she recuse herself from chairing meetings until such a time as certain allegations involving quotations are properly investigated by the police. Now, according to the statement, the deputy chief counselor, Navar Smith, will conduct meetings until the completion of the report in accordance with the generally accepted practices. Additionally, an ethics committee has been formed comprising respected persons in the community who will give advice regarding ethical standards to the council. Now, Councillor Shavita Campbell says she believes this move is important to the democratic process in order to bring about transparency, accountability, and good governance. She adds that she will be vindicated. Police are still searching for 33-year-old Jermaine Mario Major of Pinders Point, Grand Bahama, and Roses, Long Island. He is wanted on housebreaking and stealing charges. Major is said to be about 6 feet 4 inches tall, 130 pounds, dark brown complexion, and thin-built. Police say Major should be approached with caution. If you know the whereabouts of Jermaine Mario Major, pick up the phone and call the Lucaya Police Station at 373-1112, 374-3713, CDU at 350-3106-12, 911-919, or the nearest police station. And a series of brush fires wreaking havoc on Grand Bahama in recent weeks, and in the wake of this increased activity, the operations of the local fire department is now coming into question. Joan Davis Rolle reports.
Officials mandated to fight fires are now coming under fire as a local family recounts a terrifying situation involving a blaze which occurred in the area of the old Freetown at the eastern end of Grand Bahama. This latest incident coming weeks after a local church burned to the ground. For George and Cecil Johnson, their home and the farm they operate, complete with horses and other livestock and trees, were threatened by a blaze, which they say quickly spread out of control.
When they came in, I told them that the fire was across the road, but it looked like it could be threatening the farm and our home. So they came in and they looked at it, and then they came and they told me that there's no chance that the fire is going to be able to come across the street. So I said, "You sure?" And they said, "Yes, there's no chance. The fire is going in a different direction, so you don't need to worry about it."
And they were quite annoyed. They're like, "Well, the fire's across the road. Why did you call us?"
Residents described it as a frightening ordeal when they saw the fire jump the road and came so close to their home.
They left, and about 20 minutes later, we noticed that the flame was coming towards the house. And I went out there, and here it was, the fire had jumped across, and it was coming within feet from our fence line. And at that time, I called the fire department again to let them know, and they came out.
But not for over an hour, almost 2 hours after you called them.
But
they
once
showed
they
up.
came out, and I showed them, I said, "Well, look at the fire now. You said it wasn't going to cross over the street." So he said, "Oh, I'm so surprised to see it."
When they did show up, they showed up with a truck with no water, and there was nothing they could do to help us at that point. I thought, this is ridiculous. What fire department goes to any fire without water in their truck?
Now, in the aftermath of the scary situation, the Johnsons are making this appeal.
And it's just not just us that we wanted to bring this to attention to. It's for all of Grand Bahama. 2 churches burnt down in the recent past, and that just should never happen. It's just crazy to me that even any buildings are burning down.
Joan Davis Rolle, ZNS Network News.
Well, we spoke with the head of the fire department, ASP Ernest Hanna, for his side of the story. He says all calls to the fire department were responded to appropriately. He says trucks are always full with 1,000 gallons of water because they are always on call, and so the trucks never leave the station without water. But Hanna says they would not use water on every fire, and in this case there was no hydrant within miles, and in such cases they have to manage water resources. This is the forest fire season, and the fire chief says the past few weeks have been taxing on the fire crew. He says their hearts are bigger than their jobs, and they ought to be commended. Stay with us. The Bahamas Tonight will continue in a moment.